The chair recognizes the Honourable, the member for Harbour, Maine.
Hear, hear.
Mr. Speaker, it is an honour to rise in this honourable House today to speak to Bill 68, to commend the Highway Traffic Act. It is a pleasure to welcome Ms. Patricia Hines Coates and her family to the gallery. Patricia is our national president of MAD. Back in December, I had the pleasure to attend the kick-off for MAD Canada at the Avalon Mall with the whole team, and it was an event I will not forget. Driving is a serious offence when you take the lives of others into your hands. I just want to share how one senseless act changed the life of a family. Good day, Ms. Parsley. This is an email I received. Thank you for the opportunity to share my life experience since losing my mother and a lifelong friend. It had an effect on my family. My mother, Jenny Fury, at the age of 31, was senselessly killed on her way home from work by a long-term offender on May 22, 1981. Jenny was a loving wife, the mother of 2 children. I was 3 at the time when she was killed, and my brother was 8 years old. We waited her return home so we could begin our annual Victoria Day family camping trip the following morning. Sadly, she never returned. Her mother's death created a triple event effect on her childhood that has carried us over into our adult life. We lost so much more than our mother that night. Our father was a seasonal worker and was not in a position to provide a stable home for 2 small children. We went from being a happy, loving 4-family unit, planning our family outings, to a broken family consisting of 2 scared and confused children and a young widowed husband. Neither of us knew where we belonged anymore, and we had to move out of our family home, living these past 5 years without our mother, and limited time with our working father has compiled too many special life moments to count that we were not able to share with us. Thankfully, our grandparents, while in their 60s, stepped up and took on the responsibility of raising my brother and me, along with our family dog, instantly changing their plans for our future. Sadly now, I see a new generation of my family being affected by the senseless decision to drive that night. My brother's children, my sweet nieces and nephews, can only hear stories and old faded photos that are kept alive through family memories. They will never get to know their wonderful grandmother. This man's decision to get behind the wheel that night after a long night of partying has affected every aspect of our lives. There is no escaping what he's done. Something as routine as a medical checkup reminds me that I'm missing a link in my family chain. My mother was killed so young, and I had no idea what genetic issues she may have passed along to her children. The ripple effect from his choice is still being felt 35 years later. Imagine the horror to see the man who took my mother's life on the front page of the Telegram News 33 years later, committing a similar offence. Luckily, he didn't kill the victim, but she still needs hospitalization. It is now, the gentleman, which I don't want to name, is now deemed a long-term offender by the courts. It has taken 33 multiple repeat offences from impaired driving, theft, fraud and more to get this conviction. This public safety has been repeatedly put in harm's way, with this man being given lenient sentences. Our laws are not deterrent for those who have proven to be unwilling to police themselves and have not changed for over 30 years. In a province that is tied for the highest number of impaired driving, it is time for change. It is time to put the public safety first and call it as our own. It's not an accident. Calling it that is an insult to the victims. Adults make decisions to drink and drive and should be held responsible for their choices. They may not have a specific victim in mind when they get behind that wheel, but they know the full potential there is for this vehicle to be turned into a killing machine and to choose to take that gamble with all our lives. As I take my seat, I am so pleased in this honourable House today with all of our colleagues to put forward this bill and to support in every way. There's been a lot of work done by our previous member and our other minister, and especially to Patricia Coates and her family. Life is precious, and once again, this needs to be passed today so we all can move on a safer place to drive. Thank you.
The chair recognizes the Honourable, the member for Virginia Waters, Pleasantville.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd be remiss if I didn't first say a big thank you to the member for Harbour, Maine, for giving us that story. I'm a soft-hearted kind of guy, and that was a real tearjerker for me, for sure. And I'm really thankful that you shared that story with us.